Chapter 10, we are now on investigation 10.1. So we're starting to look at the atom, which is by far, I love chemistry, even though I taught physics first, but this mixture where physics and chemistry come together is my favorite topic. So I always love doing this. And these boards played a good role with my class as we talked about different elements, having them build it on the board. If you watched my explanation video to explain the kit, I wasn't quite sure which ones are protons or neutrons, or if it made a difference. On the box, on the inside of the lid, it does tell you that green is protons, blue is neutrons. Not a huge deal, but it's good to have consistency. So green will be our protons. It says green or red, so maybe there's some old kits where they were red marbles instead. Keep that in mind. The first thing it's going to have students do is build that first atom that they see there, which is lithium. So they're going to need 3 of each element. On the picture, it has them spread the protons and neutrons spaced out, but you might want to tell them to go ahead and mix those up in some combination. And then why I like these kits is it forces students to go from the inside out, building their electron shell. So it's like, okay, well, I filled out my first one, only 2, now I go out. You may not want this investigation to be the first time they're using these kits. Maybe get these out during notes or something. They can practice building it. And then I'll hold the paper up, but it's going to ask them a question to fill in the numbers that belong. And it says fill in the empty spaces. These are the 2 empty spaces that it's talking about. So the atomic number and the mass. So now students have to already understand that to get my atomic number, I'm just looking at my protons. And then to get my mass, I need to add up my protons and neutrons to fill out those numbers. So make sure that students have a good practice with that. They'll need that before this lab. There'll be a couple questions based off of, hey, okay, so you set these up, all those sorts of things, so 3 questions. And then students in groups of 3 or 4 are going to play a game. The instructions are on section 3 of the lab. The way it works is students are given 6 of each. So you essentially would have 6 of those. Yep, 6, 5. Okay, so 6 protons, 5 neutrons, and 5 electrons would be the startup for each game. So each corner will look like this for each player. And then as they go around, you can put onto the board 1 to 5 pieces. You can choose which ones you want, but when you have finished, you have to have created, and this is why it comes with periodic tables, you have to have created a viable element. So let's say I want to add 2 protons. I gotta be careful here now. That might not work. Let's go ahead and add 1 proton. So I'm going from lithium to beryllium. If I add 1 proton, I better add 1 electron. And then I need to do a little bit of math, and this is where students need to do the little calculation, because beryllium, my mass is 9, and so I need to make sure that my middle here is a total of 9. So I actually get to place 2 blue instead of just 1. And you can see that let me put 4 pieces on, so a pretty good move. Where this game comes in, which is nice, is students should check each other. Okay, so I finished. Let's say I did it wrong. Let's say I threw on an extra blue. I was like, oh yeah, and 3 neutrons. Students could say, hey, that's not a viable beryllium. That's unstable. You have to take your pieces back. And so that's how you could lose a turn. You also might be like, I'm losing some neutrons here. You can take a turn to cash in or trade your particles. All those instructions, again, right here. Will students pick that up right away? Probably not. Maybe do an example game with them. But that is the game that students could play. I wouldn't say that students are just naturally, boom, I can do that. So this investigation might come after students are familiar with calculating protons, neutrons, and electrons, and then they'd be pretty good at it. You know your students best, so, but I think it was pretty fun, and the goal is to get rid of your marbles, by the way. Okay, I think that is everything for investigation 10.1. We're gonna be using the board again for investigation 10.2. So I will see you guys in that video. Thanks, bye.